Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing? Just finishing off my little series I was doing. Top question, top favorite horror films of all time. Let me just drop that down a bit. And this is just the last of the stack that I had. I think this is part 9. Thank you for those who have been enjoying them and commenting and watching. Thank you for the views, the comments, and the subscriptions. Thank you for all those who have subscribed, and anybody else who would like to, that would be fantastic. I would really appreciate it. Just like I've been saying, I just want to bump up to 1,000, and that's good. That I'll feel like I crossed a. I don't know. There's a word I'm looking for. What's the word? I don't know. When you say you go from 39 to 40, there's a word. I can't remember what it's called, but that's how I'll feel. But anyway, moving on. If you want to hit the subscribe, like I just said, that would be fantastic. I don't know why I just said that a second time after I was just talking about it for a minute, but I don't know. It's late. It's like 2 in the morning right now, is it? Actually, no, I'm way off. It's only quarter to 12, quarter to 1. But I don't know why I thought it was so late. But anyway, so we're going to start this list off. I got this extra large shirt on. I bought this as the Night of the Living Dead live. Check it out. You can see clips of it on YouTube. This was actually really good. It's a kind of a parody of itself, a parody of the movie. And I'm a huge fan. Anyone knows me knows well that I am a huge fan of that movie. And it's done live on stage, comically. And it's also the clothes and the makeup and the background, the way it's all painted is done to look like a black and white movie. So if it ever comes back and cats, if it ever comes back and you get an opportunity to see it, I definitely check it out. Same with the Evil Dead. The Evil Dead the musical is really good too, in terms of sort of on that sort of topic, subject, live performance kind of thing. But definitely check this one out. I've seen them both. If I had a choice, I would see this one again before the other one. But hopefully, if I did buy a shirt, I'd buy a smaller one because this thing's huge, and I'm a fat guy, so it's a pretty big shirt. Anyway, let's get into the list. Now, I got this backwards. The Hitcher. The Hitcher is a really good movie. It's pretty dark. This one's with C. Thomas Howell, C. Thomas Howell and Rutger Hauer. It is a good movie. It's kind of a product of its time, but it's well acted. It's got scares where they need to be, and I'm gonna make a comparison to the remake in a minute. There is one part I find a little silly all the time, and it's like a truck. The truck, he's got to chase him with a truck, and it's basically about a hitchhiker that he picks up on the road. Guy turns out to be a sociopath. I'm going to say serial killer for lack of a better term, but and it just kind of goes from there. They get away from him, then they can't get away, and he's just kind of chasing them, and things ensue. And there's a really good truck scene, very intense, a lot of intensity, and they remake the scene in the remake. Now, the remake is still a pretty decent film. Spoiler alert, I need a drink of water. Get the pasties. Hopefully that helped. Anyway, Sean Bean's in it, so you already know he's going to die. Spoiler alert, he dies in everything. So I started watching Game of Thrones. I actually hadn't seen it before. It's not really a genre I'm into, but I thought I'd give it a try. Saw Sean Bean. Well, that character's gonna die, and he did. Spoiler alert, but I think most people who like it have seen it already. But and Jennifer Jason Leigh is in this too. I don't know how I didn't say her name because I've had a fanboy crush on her since my entire life. But back to the remake. It's got some over the top intensity scenes with a lot of good special effects, a lot of practical effects, and good stunts. But it's just compared to the original, this one just goes a little bit too over the top for the type of movie it's supposed to be. Where this is sort of like a suspense thriller with some action. This is an action thriller with some suspense, I guess, if there's even suspense in it. But it's good. It's well done. Definitely prefer the original, and I would suggest the original over the remake if you've never seen either, and then give the remake a view. But always try the original first. It's really good, and they do like I was saying. There's the truck scene in this, and they do a gender swap in it. Spoilers, sorry, and I'm not going to say too much about what they do, but they make the scene a lot more intense, and you'll know why when you see it. And those who've seen it know why. And it looks really cool visually, but I think it's just sort of kind of out of place a little bit in the movie, if that sounds weird, but still not a bad movie. That's why I own it. Moving on, speaking of movies and remakes, big pile of dust. The Hills Have Eyes, the original, Wes Craven's. And this is an excellent movie of its time. It's sort of, does its kind of own thing. And, it's basically these people get stranded out in a place where there's a lot of radiation because they're doing bomb testings there, and they come across this psycho family of mutants. I think they're cannibals too, like something to that effect. And of course, you got what's his name, Mike something. I can't remember his name. Why I can't remember his name? He's awesome. Oh, Michael Berryman, that's it. I don't know why I couldn't remember his name. Of course, Dee Wallace is also in this, and if you know, she's a scream queen of that day. She up there, right up there with Jamie Lee Curtis. I would definitely agree with. Jamie Lee Curtis sort of pursued it a little bit longer, but both of them, I would say, are just, they've been in so many things, especially Dee Wallace. But an excellent movie, nevertheless. And then you got the remake here, which a lot of people didn't like. I thought it was pretty good. I seen this one first, but I hadn't seen it for years and years and years, so it was sort of, I didn't really remember too much about it. So I saw this in the theater and thought it was like a really well done movie. And then when you compare them both, it's still good. They have practical effects in this are really well done. There's some like stunt work that's good. It's just both of them. I would say they're just as good as each other, but for different reasons. So is my clickbait? I don't know. They all kind of look the same now. I'll make a serious face this time. But both of them, but definitely check this one out first because it is the first one, and it's very very well casted, and the product and easily a product of its time. This one, also check it out. It's good. The effects are incredible, and just a good movie. It's a lot more. It's more graphic than this, more violent, more blood, but they're both good. I don't know. It's like I wanted to say something and then my mind just went, no, you're not going to say anything. So that made it. All right, next one. Cabin Fever. I really like this movie. It's really well done. It's creepy. Again, it kind of it goes in a different direction. It's weird. It's like the way it's done. Black picture. Black skull trees. Black skull trees. But anyway, yeah, it's and it's blah, 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 blah. I don't want to say the wrong name, so I just want to double check. Here, yada yada, yada yada. I don't know why I'm just having trouble finding the stupid name. John James I can't remember. I can't. Oh yeah, Eli Roth. I knew it was him, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I had to double check. But he's in this, and actually his brother's in this too. His brother, if you know the movie, the bald guy, the bald headed guy. That people think that's Eli Roth. It's actually his brother that he cast in the movie. But they do look a lot alike. But his character in this movie is kind of like weird and not say creepy, but just kind of if you ran into him the way they did, you'd be like, where did this fucking guy come from? But it's about they have contaminated water and then they all get this kind of disease. It's got some throwaway one-liners. It does have a lot of jokes in it, but it's still definitely worth the watch. It's scary when it's got to be scary. Some of the parts are a little bit hokey, but not enough to make me dislike the film. But definitely check it out. I'll talk about here, Exorcist 3. Now, this movie, I really do like it. It's got some things about it I don't like. I do like how it goes back from Jason Miller to Brad Dourif, like the Gemini Killer, to Father, the priest he played in the original film. And it kind of flip-flops back to that. He's the same character, but the body's him taking over the other guy, and it kind of goes back and forth. George C. Scott in it is really good, but he's good everything. But the thing is, he always kind of plays the same character, only as a different person. One thing he's supposed to be Detective Kinderman. I think that's his name, but his personality is way different than the original guy in the first film. And then the other priest is supposed to be Father Denning, I think, and his personality is very different. And they don't look anything like the original characters, but you can kind of get away from that and just enjoy the movie for what it is. It's not over the top scary. It does have one of what's considered the best jump scares in all of horror, and I will agree with that. But it's more suspenseful than it is horror. It does have some spooky scenes and some scenes that are supposed to be kind of spooky that are kind of like hokey. And go to the one obvious one, the old lady crawling around the ceiling's a little bit funny, but it's still kind of fun to watch that scene. As a blink and you miss a moment of young Samuel L. Jackson. I think this is his first movie. I think he's no, he's actually credited in the movie. I was going to say it's an uncredited role, but no, he is mentioned in the credits. But if you don't know it's him, even if you do know it's him, and you look at him, you can't tell it's him just the way he's covered up and stuff. But it's interesting to see him then versus where he is now. But it is a good, fun, interesting movie. It's completely different than the first one. Definitely better than the second one that nobody wants to talk about. And if you've seen it, you probably wouldn't want to talk about it either. It's silly. It's kind of silly. I don't know. Just leave it at that. But give this one a go and see what you think. And again, if you have a different opinion and you want to comment below, that's great. And I will definitely get back to you because I do get back to all my comments. And unless I haven't seen them, sometimes I do miss them and I don't get back, but it's nothing personal. It's just I just didn't see it. Sorry. Next one, another found footage movie. One of the few that I like, Cloverfield. I do like this movie. I like the design of the monster. I like the setup. I like how it builds up, and then there's a few Easter eggs that you see here and there. Hi, Lemons. See, she's gonna come up and make Cloverfield monster noises. You wanna say hi? I got you. There, you're okay. Oh. There. Oh, don't knock over the camera. Oh, now you're growling. Now she's growling at the other cat, not at me. So I'm gonna there. Yeah. She does not like the other cat. She does not like Gunner at all. Actually, a lot of it's a show because I've seen her going up and sniffing at him and stuff. The other day, Gunner fell down kind of and I caught him, and the first thing she did was run over to see if he was okay. So I think it's all an act. But anyway, back to this. This is a really good movie. Stick around for the very ending, and I think it's a post-credit thing, but there's a little bit of an Easter egg that refers back to the beginning of the movie. But definitely a good watch, worth a watch. And the monster's original design in terms of the trilogy. I can't remember what one of them was, but the one with John Goodman where they're bunkered in the thing. That one's really good too. I really like that one. I can't remember what the second one was about, or the third one. I think that was the third one. But definitely check out this one. Check out the one with John Goodman, and I think that's the Cloverfield Lane one. I think I'm not sure. And check out the other one too. I can't remember anything about it, but it's also when you watch like 200-300 movies a year, you sort of forget some of them. But this is a good film. I don't know. The cat kind of distracted me, so moving on. Now, another good ghost story from the 80s, The Entity. It's like if you took Poltergeist and mixed it with the Amityville Horror, you would get this. The effects are really well done. It's, the ending is a little sci-fi-ish, but it's done in a way that still fits the movie. It doesn't kind of feel out of place. The characters are good. The horror is good when it needs to. It's got some of this stereotypical kind of common 1980s lightning stuff that was in everything, like Terminator, Return of the Jedi. Anything that needed lightning used this lightning effect. So it's in there. So it's an 80s movie. But it's good. It's got some good effects. The characters are likable. It's like a family where I guess the husband has moved off, but he does make an appearance later on, briefly. And they're just fighting these ghosts, but no one believes the mother, and she's the one she's getting sexually assaulted by the ghost. And it's not done in a silly way. You think, oh, the ghost is doing this, but it's actually done in kind of a frightening way, and she sells it really, really well. But if you haven't seen this, check it out. And if you have and you liked it or you didn't like it, I don't know, comment below and tell me what you thought. But I do really like this movie. out of the three that I was just talking about, this one, Poltergeist and Amityville Horror, I'd argue Poltergeist is the best. Amityville Horror is probably a little bit better than this, in my opinion, but it's not far off. So give this one a go. Check it out. Up next, The Grudge. I do like this movie. Still has price tags ripped off, but the backing part of it is still on there. But I do really like this movie in terms of remakes. I think it's one of the ones, again, that are done right. It doesn't stray too far. I do have the original, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called now, but it's got buried somewhere with all the other movies, and I couldn't find it, so I just brought this one here because it was in the stack I had. So, but yeah, it is really well done. It's not amazing, but it's creepy and it's spooky when it needs to be. It's definitely got the scare factor and rewatchability, and I think I like it better than the original anyway, which is rare. So again, another remake that's done right in terms of Americanizing foreign films. So, there. Up next, is that twofer kinda? But The Evil Dead, Sam Raimi. Low budget, put Bruce Campbell on the map as the godfather and king of the B movies, even though he's a very highly paid B actor, and has his own TV series of The Evil Dead. I mean, there's been remakes, and the remake of this is actually, I really like it. It's not as silly and campy as this one comes off as. It's actually pretty scary. But this one here was meant to be a legit horror movie, but it sort of plays off as a comedy unintentionally. A lot of gore, a lot of really good effects, but given that the budget was pretty much nothing, I think they did an amazing job, and it's become such a cult classic. It's so iconic. Like, anybody that knows horror knows this movie. They may not have seen it, but give you an idea of the effects. They do look a little bit, homemade-ish, but it still really sells and it really works, and it's one of the most fun movies I've seen. I also do have all three of them. I have this one here, Evil Dead 2, which is marketed as a comedy, and it is really well done. It's got, I would still say this one's better, but this is definitely not boring by any stretch of imagination. And of course, Army of Darkness, which is a straight up Middle Ages-esque fantasy comedy horror movie. It's that movie, if you've never seen it, from beginning to end, you're laughing through the whole thing, which is intended. It's got some of the best one-liners. It's just really well done. That's where you get the line, "This is my boomstick." It's all from that movie. That still got his chainsaw hand that he gets in the second one, the hand running around. All three movies are good. The other Army of Darkness, I just, for whatever reason, I didn't put it in the stack with this, but it's does that work? But it's easily just as good as anything. The effects in that one, though, are way above this. The budget was obviously considerably higher. By then, Bruce Campbell was a lot more well known, and they knew that the movie was going to make some money. So, and it's not marketed as an Evil Dead movie. It's just Army of Darkness, and then when you watch it, you realize what you're watching, and it's good. It's funny. Second last, we got Creepshow and Creepshow 2. Now, this is definitely the superior film of them both, but both of them are really well done. It's an anthology film, for those who don't know, on 3 short stories. You got Stephen King in one of them. One was written by Stephen King, George Romero, and who wrote the other one? George Romero, Stephen King, and someone else. I don't know who, and I feel bad for not knowing that. Or maybe it's just George Romero and Stephen King, because it says Masters of Terror and Macabre, blah blah blah. Most fun you'll ever had being scared. I remember seeing this poster in the video store before I ever saw the movie, and I always thought it was the coolest thing ever. And it is a really cool poster. Look at that. The artwork is really well done, and the tagline is really cute too, like really fun. sounding, but it is definitely a good movie, worth its watch. Starts off cartoony as some movies do, especially in the 80s. They always had that little cartoon beginning, and then it would turn into reality. The second one is done very similar. It's done, set up like a comic book. Now you can see by the art here, it's set up like a comic book, and they got some paneled scenes. I think they do that in the original too, if I'm not mistaken. Both the movies are very good. They're both anthologies, so you don't have, if you don't like the whole movie, at least, I'm sure there's at least one story in there you're gonna like. But definitely worth a watch. I haven't seen the third one. I've heard nothing good about it, but doesn't mean I'm not going to watch it because of that, because I hear bad things about a lot of movies that I really enjoy. So, anyway, lastly is Scream. I do have a copy of Scream, but I don't know where I put it because I didn't put it in the stack of movies that I reviewed, unless I did review it already, because I think this is the 9th one. I don't remember exactly every movie I did so far. I just know it's not in the pile anymore. But I don't know if it was originally in the pile. It might have been, but I do really like this movie. I like how it's a parody, a horror parody that's still a horror movie, if that makes sense. Whereas, say, like Scary Movie is a straight up parody, a satire, and it's played off for laughs. This is played off to be serious, but it does have some funny parts. I mean, this is from Scream 4, just not Scream, but it's just the Ghostface character, and they're pretty much generic anyway, in terms of the movies. But I definitely think that Scream is probably one of the better movies, and just how it plays on itself. And it's talking about all the tropes that are cliches in horror movies, and then still use those tropes to sell the movie and make it scary. It's just really well done. The Ghostface character is a pretty terrifying looking ghost. It has an original look. Sure, it's like a mask, everything, but it's a Halloween costume, and it looks good. And this costume was bought actually at a store, and I think they had to buy the rights, the copyrights to the costume to use it in the movie, because otherwise they would have had to pay legal rights or legal shit, for using it. And I think they might have tweaked it a bit, and that's what we got. But it is a good movie. I do like it. It's probably even in my top 10. And it is, I don't know, there was something else I was going to say about it, and I can't remember. But I think everybody's pretty much knows the Ghostface character and has seen the first film. And a lot like, it has one thing common in Psycho is, without spoiler alert, but Drew Barrymore, who's iconic, especially then, she was like top of her game, and she dies in the very beginning of the movie. You don't see it coming. Now, I know that's a huge spoiler, but like I said, by now everybody has seen the movie, I would like to believe. And if you haven't, I'm sorry. I kind of gave away the first 5 minutes of the movie, but the movie's like an hour and a half long at least, so there's a lot more cool shit that happens after that. And it's also a brutal death. It's pretty graphic and really, really well done. Anyway, this is the last of these videos in terms of horror films that I've done, my top favorite horror films. And I'll probably do a few more of these based on other movies. I know I want to do my top Christmas movies that I watch every year, at least the ones I have in my collection. And I'm going to do a couple based on classic gangster movies, starting from like the 1930s and then working my way up to more modern times. Anyway, if you want to subscribe, I'd really like that. If you watched the whole video, thank you very much. If you want to comment, I will get back to you. And I guess call it a day for this one, and until the next one, bye.